there and good evening. First tonight, don't make your mother the mother of a murderer. Those are the powerful words this evening from a grieving mother to any child carrying a knife after her young son was killed with a ninja sword just yards from his home in a case of mistaken identity. Pooja Kanda delivered her heartfelt plea as she joined a knife crime action summit on Teesside, as Greg Eastill reports.
Ronan Kanda, a young life lost to knife crime at the hands of two other youngsters who were barely adults themselves. Yards from his home in Wolverhampton, he was attacked from behind with a 22-inch ninja sword by two 17-year-olds who thought he was someone else. Desperate to turn that loss into lives saved, his mother and sister were on Teesside today at a knife crime summit, telling me afterwards in the starkest terms why children here, who it's known carry knives, must make a change.
I lost my son, 16-year-old, to knife crime, and I don't carry knife. You know what's right. You know carrying a knife is not safest point for you. You have the opportunity to live, make a difference in a positive way, because no mother wants to be a mother of a murderer either.
I think there's this kind of misconception that things get easier over time. This doesn't get easier over time, it gets worse over time, because every day I wake up, it's like another realisation hits me that I don't have my brother anymore.
What action do you want to see police and other authorities take here to stop knife crime, to bring the levels down?
I think the policing needs to look at the loopholes. The loopholes, especially the gap between when they get first picked up, when somebody's done some kind of criminal activity, to when they release them in the public domain. What can they do to help that person?
Cleveland Police says it is already starting to win some of this war though, with proactive stop and search methods producing a rise of more than 10% in the number of people arrested on suspicion of possession of a bladed article.
We know for certain areas where individuals are more likely to be carrying knives. We will be increasing our patrols within those areas.
Ronan was killed with a weapon ordered online and collected from a pickup point. New laws have now been introduced in his name to take tougher action against retailers.
We need to make sure that the police, my office and partners locally, including the councils and licensing departments, work together to make sure that we keep those kind of weapons off the streets and that they understand the consequences of selling those kind of weapons to people in Cleveland.
Ronan wanted to be a lawyer. His legacy now, perhaps at least, to see the law used more here to tackle the sharp end of an alarming problem.
Our correspondent Greg Eastill reporting there. A former university director who sexually assaulted two sleeping women has been jailed for 14 years. Andrew Hartson, who's 39, of Kirkwood Drive in Durham, was found guilty of offences related to separate sexual assaults on two women. He was sentenced at Teesside Crown Court and made to sign the sex offenders register. A new Shields ferry landing, a mobile ticketing on the Tyne Metro and improvements to cycle routes are amongst the proposals in a £200 million transport plan for the region. North East Mayor Kim McGuinness says that it's part of a long-term plan that will go to the North East Combined Authority next week for approval. A Newcastle mother has been to Parliament today campaigning for a drug which keeps her little girl alive to be approved on the NHS. 9-year-old Jessica Rich has Batten disease. Her sister Nicole died with it in 2023. Jessica currently receives infusions at the RVI in Newcastle, but without full approval, that could be stopped. Tom Sheldrick reports.
A child's right to life! A child's right to life!
They campaign in orange because it's one of the last colours that children with Batten disease can see when they lose their sight. Among those making themselves heard at Westminster today was Gail Rich from Newcastle.
We want a yes!
She's desperate to make sure that her daughter Jessica can keep getting access to a treatment that keeps her alive and healthy.
The wait is excruciating. The thought of it being taken away from our children is beyond, we can't comprehend it, and we'll not let that happen. We will keep fighting. Our children were born with a rare disease, but that does not mean they should be excluded from access to a medicine that has been proven to make a difference.
Batten disease is a genetic disorder that affects the nervous system. Both of Gail and Matthew Rich's daughters were diagnosed with it. Nicole was 11 when she died in 2023. Jessica is now 9 and has treatment at the RVI in Newcastle every fortnight. Her family say how active she is shows how the drug Brineura is working.
It's the only available treatment for children, and it's prolonging their life and it's giving them a quality of life. Without it, the life expectancy for a child with CLN2 is age 6 to 12. So it's absolutely crucial that children receive this treatment.
NICE, the public organisation that assesses treatments for the NHS, told us that the current agreement for Brineura runs until the 27th of May, and there are currently no arrangements for access to the drug as part of standard NHS care after that. But they say they're working with NHS England and the pharmaceutical company to try to reach an agreement that secures permanent access for current patients and allows new patients to begin treatment. Former cricketer Lord Botham hosted an event inside Parliament this afternoon to help with the campaigning efforts. He's long supported families affected by Batten disease.
You can't cure it, but you can slow it down, and that gives families a little bit of hope, and more importantly, the children, because I can't think of anything worse than sitting there and watching my child deteriorate, and there's absolutely nothing I can do.
Families like Gail's hope their presence today will have put the pressure on NICE to approve the treatment they believe is so vital for their children's futures. Tom Sheldrick, ITV News at Westminster.
People living with Parkinson's disease on Teesside say that going to a weekly boxing group has been life-changing. Parkinson's Punches was set up 3 years ago by Billingham Boxing Academy, as Katie Cole reports.
Packing a punch and managing the symptoms of Parkinson's disease. These weekly 45-minute sessions in Billingham are open to anyone living with the condition.
It makes me feel looser and more comfortable in my body. It can be as effective as medication. It's just as important. I know if I'm very stiff, if I do a little bit of exercise, it does make a difference.
For me, I've got a tremor more or less all the time, left-hand side. Everything's slowed down. Got involved approximately a year ago. It gives you the exercise which is vital for the Parkinson's. Keeping moving is proven to slow the declines, and also you've got the community spirit.
3, 2... The group was started by this boxing coach 3 years ago. Her nana had Parkinson's and she wishes there'd been something like this then.
Well, there wasn't anything really for people living with Parkinson's at that time. It was kind of, there's a prescription, go and cash it in, crack on. She would never ever have thought that she'd have inspired this and so many people, and that something like this was here because of her. She'd help people, she'd like to help people, she'd always be there for her neighbours, she was always there for her family. So I know that that's kind of extended itself to 2025 we're in now, and all of these people are kind of benefiting.
Brian, who's 87, has been coming from the start, and it's also pushed him to do other exercises at home. He's lost 2.5 stone and it's helped him manage his diabetes. He says he owes it all to Jane.
She's wonderful. I'm in love with her really, but still, she knows that. Because she's adapted everything to everybody that comes, you know, she shouldn't turn anybody away, just sort of taking everybody on.
Spend just a couple of hours with the Parkinson's Punches and it's clear the difference it's making. They say their doors are open to others with the condition and they're ready to welcome new members. Katie Cole, ITV News, Billingham.
And that's all from us tonight. Your weather forecast is next with James. Take care. Bye-bye.
Wet by the coast, with a high chance of sun and splashing. TUI sponsors ITV Tyne Tees weather.
Hello there, good evening. Lots of showers around today. Few more to come tomorrow, but really the pattern is for things to settle down as we head towards the weekend. At the moment, high pressure helping to siphon down cold air sourced from the Arctic, but that high slowly moving into position, ridging at first and then plonking itself pretty nearby, which will cut off the supply of that chilly air and hopefully settle things down and give us a nice sunny weekend. We do have a yellow warning in force overnight until 9 o'clock tomorrow. That's generally away from the coast, up on the higher ground for icy surfaces. It's just we've got the coldest air and those showers just falling on the chilly ground. Still a little bit breezy around the coast. That stops temperatures falling too far, which will still be pretty close to freezing. Tomorrow then, bright, breezy, showery. Hopefully the showers ease off a little bit into the afternoon, and if you can stay dry and in a bit of spring sunshine, 6 or 7 Celsius. Yes, on the cool side, shouldn't actually feel too bad. Chilly start to the day on Friday, but it's sort of rinse and repeat before things settle down into the weekend.
TUI sponsors ITV Tyne Tees weather.